Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Being Chisholm. So I wanted to do this quick video. I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible because I the whole time just want to get some food in my belly real quick. But I've actually been meditating on doing this for a while. So if you don't know, I'm a law student at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, and I'm a master's of studies in law student. So I'm in the master's program, and instead of becoming a lawyer, because I really don't want to do anything like that, so I want to make prison documentaries and work with prison reform and things like that. But anyways, getting to my point, I'm a master's student, so I take upper level classes and lower level classes at the very same time. So even though it's my first year at the law school, it's also my last year, and I'm taking 32 credit hours in total. So what that's taught me is that there are a lot of things that I wish I knew walking into the law school, that pertain to my upper level classes and lower level classes at the same time. Now, heads up, these might be things you all knew. I did not know these things. I was very ignorant coming into law school. So these are going to be the things that I want to tell you all. So without further ado, let's get straight to the video. Don't forget, before we even get started, to like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe. I work so hard on them when I have time for them. Alright, so first things first, my first day, everybody kept asking, what section are you in? Are you in section 1, section A2, 3, what are you in? And I never knew what sections were. So when you come into the law school, into usually the JD program, I don't get a section, but you will be assigned a section. And that section will be with students that you are supposed to take all your classes with, right? So you might be A1, A2, B1, B3, you might be any section, and that it's usually a small knit group of people you take classes with. I want to say like probably 20 people or so. Now, a lot of people stress about sections. They believe that your section is supposed to give insight as to how you did on the LSAT and how smart you are compared to other students and stuff. That is not the case. Literally, I sat down with the professor and she told me, because I don't have a section, so she was being straight up honest with me, and she literally said, sections do not matter. Everybody, their entire law career is going to sit down and try to figure out why they got stuck in a section with this person and that person. Your section does not matter. It's a random thing. I don't know if all universities do it the same, so that's a disclaimer, but my university specifically, your section doesn't mean anything special. That's just who you are randomly linked with, and if anything, when they're dividing up classes, they try to have an equal number of girls to guys. That's all they look at. They try not to look at race or anything like that. Don't worry about the one you get put in. You're gonna take the same classes as everyone else. Really doesn't matter. I wish I knew the sections of the law school. There are so many sections that people are so unaware of, and there are not just JD students at the law school, and I think that's a very ignorant thing to believe, and I wish a lot of people knew that it's more than just JD students, so they would be more considerate when they're talking and when they're speaking about law students in general. So you have your JD students who are future lawyers, hopefully. You're gonna have your 1L students, your first year students, your 2L students, your second year students, and your 3L students. Obviously, you get the point. And then you're also going to have your LLM students. LLM, you're a international student. You're coming to study at the school, and usually you have a pre-existing law degree already in your other country. You just want to get certified in America. So you came and you're studying here or whatever. And then you have your JSD students. They already completed the LLM program. So think about this. They got a law degree in their homeland. Then they're coming to America, they got an LLM degree. And then the next step up from there, they're getting their doctorate in law. So they are probably the most advanced in the entire building, but people really overlook the JSD students. So I give them their props. And then last but not least, you have me, one of very few MSL students. I think maybe 8 to 10 universities in the country offer the opportunity to be an MSL student, which is the Masters of Studies in Law program. So moving on, one thing I wish I knew before I came to law school is that reading is not the same. You know, if you get assigned reading in undergrad, you skim through really fast. You read the first or last sentence of each paragraph. You probably take a few notes, literally like just look for the main definitions and stuff like that, and you're good and you're done. Law school reading is not like that. You look at a case and you have to break every case down. So the case is broken down into what we use as briefs. So I wish I knew how serious briefs were. When you look at a case, you're looking at the facts, the procedural holding, the issue, the holding on that issue, the opinion, the reasoning, the rule, the dissent, the concurring. I wish I knew how in depth to get ready to read. Because you can't just read and be done. You have to read and interpret what you've learned. So whether that be using online sources to interpret it, using a supplement for a class, which is kind of like a little help me out. Like, I don't really use supplements. I picked up one today, but I'm probably not gonna crack it open until like next semester for that class. But yeah, like just knowing how in depth you have to read. If you don't like reading, that's one thing, because like I like reading, but I don't like to take too much time reading. But if you are the type of person that reads to get straight to the point, you're not gonna like law school. Sometimes there will never be a point to anything. Everything is up for argument, everything is debatable, everything is almost like up for interpretation. So if you're reading for a point, you're never gonna find one. What I wish I knew about law school was that cold calling is a thing in real life. So if you all watch like How to Get Away with Murder, besides like the murdering scenes and stuff like that and the illegal activity, the real thing that happens in those shows is the cold calling. So if you all know How to Get Away with Murder, how Annalise Keating, she literally walks into the classroom, she'll write her name on the board or write the topic on the board or whatever on the board, and then she'll say, Mr. So-and-so, tell me the facts of this case, or Miss blah blah blah, tell me how the holding will go. That is literally how law school works. I didn't know that. So I literally will go to class and I'll be sitting there and I'll be having a great day taking my notes, and all of a sudden my teacher will ask me, Ashley, what do you think the holding will be in this case? And I look up and I'm, well, what do you think the holding will be in this case? You know, like cold calling is really a thing. And so that's basically when the teacher comes to class and they expect the students to know the information already. You should have done your reading. You should have went into research in depth by yourself. Even if it's 40 pages of reading, you should have gotten it done, because you're going to need to know the information before you come to class. Because when you come to class, we're discussing, we're not taking time to review. So some teachers will take it very serious. Some teachers won't take cold calling very serious. I've had teachers that will tell you like the day before or something that, oh, I'm gonna call on you in class, is that okay? Like, just get ready and make sure you read X, Y, and Z. And then I've had other teachers where they won't tell you at all that they're gonna call on you, they just do. So that's pretty much, it's gonna depend professor to professor, but I wish I knew that I need to let go of my nervousness in front of the class and prepare to be wrong. And that's a lot. Like in law school, you just need to prepare to be wrong, because most of the time you will be wrong, but it's okay because everybody else in the class is wrong. But yeah, so the next thing I wish I knew is that law school works like its own little world, like opposed to the rest of the university you may be in partner with. So at my university, the law school has every single club on its own. So you know how usually your university will have a softball club? Well, the law students have their own softball club. Or you might have a running club at the university. The law students have their own running club. You might have a black student union. Well, we have a black law student association. So every club and stuff actually matters that you join. There are going to be professional ones just like there are fun ones when you're in undergrad. But it's really important to actually look at every single club and try to get in the ones that pertain to you year by year and build yourself up. But for me, I can't just be around law students all the time. So I joined two organizations. One I have an exec board position for, and one is just like a Christian Bible study for law students. And that literally works for me. That Bible study is absolutely amazing. I met some of my closest friends in that Bible study. So that was enough for me. I'm the person that usually puts 4 to 5 organizations like under me every single year. And this was the first year I just took a step back and said, I'm going to adjust to my surroundings. I'm not going to join everything all at once. I'm going to take my time. And it honestly worked for me. So your first year, yes, get involved, but do not overextend yourself. The last thing I wish I knew was how important things were like outlining were. So outlining is basically when you, like I said, your whole grade for your classes depends on a final at the end most of the time. Usually most teachers, law teachers don't give midterms. Some started to at our college, but it's very unlikely. So I didn't have a midterm in any classes. Thank you, Jesus. And I hope I don't have one next semester. Please, Jesus. So I wish I knew how important outlining was, because outlining is basically taking all the information you learned over the course of the entire semester and condensing it down into a study guide. And sometimes you can take that study guide to the test and it's open notes and your book as well and supplements. Sometimes you cannot take that study guide with you. So I wish somebody told me, besides just my first week of law school, I wish somebody told me how important outlining was. Start taking note-taking serious in your classes now. So when you take your notes, try to merge them and condense them down day by day or week by week at the end of every week for your really hard classes that may pertain to law or something like that. Try practicing that now, because that condensing is important in law school. You will move from having a 20-page study guide to having a 1.5-page study guide when you enter the final. And so right now, for a lot of my classes, I'm working on outlining as we speak, because you start studying for your finals at least a month and a half, or a month to a month and a half in advance. So it's November now, and my finals start mid to late December, right before Christmas, like literally right before Christmas. So I'm taking my outlines very serious right now, trying to condense them, as well as I went to a lot of exam sessions, and that is where you are going to find yourself getting practice test problems, and all of that is stuff you need to take into consideration. Studying for finals in law school is not like studying for finals in undergrad, because teachers will most of the time give you practice problems either from the past years, they may be online, or the practice problems may be directly from your teacher, and they'll give them to you and say, here, look, I'm giving you a couple of practice problems, let me know if you have any questions. So take advantage of all of those. Make sure you don't depend on other people's notes to get you through law school. You need to be taking your own notes, but also don't be afraid to take notes from other people. Depend on yourself, but be willing to receive help. So if you all have questions, please write them in the comments below. I think I leave my Snapchat down there as well. Hit me up on Snapchat. I think my email might be in the description. So honestly, you can reach out to me on all of those platforms if you find me on Twitter and stuff. So just talk to me if you have any questions. I also, like I said, I take upper level and lower level classes at the same time. I have a lot of friends that are in their first year, but also students in their last year are my friends. So I can always ask them the questions you may have too. And I plan to do a lot more law school related videos. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, because it is on the way. All right. Okay, bye.